Hey everyone, welcome to today's tutorial, which is how to draw a horse's nose. Now, bear in mind this is my first ever coloured pencil drawing of a horse, other than maybe when I was like 5 years old, like everyone draws little horses and animals and stuff when they're kids. But this is my first proper, shall we say, coloured pencil horse drawing. Um, and it's also my first tutorial, so two firsts today. So for those of you that don't know, I only started my portrait business back in March this year. Thank you, lockdown. So I haven't been drawing professionally for years, like a lot of other artists that we see online. So hence why I want to share my tips with you to help you see how easy some of the techniques that I use are, so that you can achieve this for yourself. So I started off this drawing as I tend to always start off portrait drawings, which is with a grid. So just a nine box grid, which I just find the easiest, well, my preferred way. It's probably, easier to trace if that is what you choose to do. However, I prefer to do it freehand and just using these grids to kind of guide me as to where I need to draw things. So that's how I've started off. I've also just done the first a little bit of the head with the eye. I like to always start off with the eye because they're my favorite thing to draw, and I feel like bringing kind of life into the drawing straight away, it kind of encourages you to draw more. I know a lot of people like to add the eyes after or last, or whenever. It's entirely your preference. There's no kind of rules. This is your art, so you just do whatever you want to do. You do you. But I prefer to draw the eye first, just so I can kind of see where the drawing is going and see that it is actually, yeah, a lifelike portrait already. So I've got the grid down there, and then so what I just do is I make sure that my outline is as accurate as possible. Now I do this in just a HB or a 2B pencil would be absolutely fine, and just mark it in really, really lightly enough that you can erase it afterwards. And then I literally just go in making sure all my measurements are right and everything, and I go in kind of block colouring what I can, so any bits that are going to be coloured in, kind of just to guide me and get that first layer down. So as you can see, I've kind of figured out where the nostril is, I've figured out what different kind of shades of brown there are on the nose, and I've just gone ahead and blocked them in. Now you can see that I'm actually going in a lot heavier. So I am now, once I've got that first layer down, or second or third, there's often many layers depending on what the colour actually is. Then on the last layer, that is when I would go a bit heavier. So really just the easiest way to figure this out really is just to look at the highlights, look at the shadows. When you look at this horse, yes, it may be just brown, but really have a look closely and see what the different colours are, and that is exactly how you will figure out kind of where to put what. And that's how you give it that kind of silky shiny effect as well, is all of those highlights and those shadows, and they've got those lovely kind of long, strong, almost like veiny, rigid faces. So that is where the shadows and the highlights are so important. So now for the nostril, which I absolutely love horses' nostrils because they look like humans' ears. Am I the only one that thinks that? I don't know. But yeah, they just horses' noses are just so lovely, and I just love horses. They're really beautiful animals. So I was really happy when I got asked to do this as a portrait commission, because I've been waiting to draw a horse for ages. I just haven't had time in between my commissions, so thought I would use this opportunity to video this actual commission that I'm doing for this beautiful horse. So yeah, with the nostrils again, it is literally just getting that shape in there first, and then just going in with all of those highlights, all of those shadows, and just making sure that it is all, yeah, as accurate as you possibly can. And just really looking closely and paying attention to detail. Where are those shadows? Where are those sharp lines? Where is that where are some colors kind of blending into the others? So you can see on the white part of the nose, that black and that pink is actually the skin underneath. So it's actually got that different colored skin underneath, that really light soft layer of white fur on top. And of course the nose, there's a lot more skin than fur, so that the skin color is going to be showing through. And then of course there's some kind of brown on top of it, so it's it's just looking at those colors really, really carefully, and deciding what goes where, and not committing too early either, not kind of going straight in heavy with your pencil, because of course when you go in too heavy you won't be able to erase it, which can be an absolute nightmare if you've done it wrong. So that is why I would just say measure many times until you're absolutely happy and confident that it's in the right place. Now, of course, you don't always have to measure. So what I like to do is kind of just have a really, really good look. And of course, you'll get better at this as you kind of progress. But just having a look, and you might get it right anyway. Just have a look at the reference photo. Draw really lightly where you think it might be, and then of course you can measure it afterwards and see if it needs tweaking at all. So of course it's about trusting yourself, trusting your eye as well. And like I said, you might not be able to do that for a while, and it might take a while to get you to that point. But once you get used to looking at the reference photo and then drawing it with the measurements, you'll kind of get used to just putting it in the right place. So I tend to kind of freehand it and then go back over any bits that I'm unsure of, just to make sure that I'm getting that measurement right, because of course that it's really, really important that, especially when you're drawing, well, if you're drawing anything, you want it to look exactly like that animal or like that person. You don't want it to kind of just be any old horse or any old dog or whatever it is that you're drawing. You want it to be you want it to capture them, capture their personality, capture their character. And the only way that you're going to be able to do that is if it's as accurate as possible, to really, really bring that life into the drawing, which is what we want to do. So don't be afraid to, take time to do this. Take your time, do it slowly. Keep going back and adding in any little bits that you think will kind of make the drawing, come to life that little bit more, make it kind of pop. Have a look. Is there any shadows that you've not added in enough? Could you add a bit more highlight to make, to add to the shapes? That's the beauty of these shadows and highlights. They really emphasize the shape of things and make it a bit more lifelike, make it a bit more 3D. So absolutely, take your time doing that and keep kind of going back and adding more, and layering and layering, and until you're really, really happy with it. So and as well, just having a look, and not just drawing what you think you see, looking at those colors and looking at those tones, and just really, really paying attention. That's probably the best skill in all of this, is actually just attention to detail. So a good example would be this part of the head collar that I'm drawing now, which you would look at it on the reference picture and think, yeah, it's just a purple head collar. However, when you look closely, there are greys, there are, light, warm greys, dark greys, there are, pinky tones, purple tones, white tones, brown tones even. There are so many different tones on the different parts of it. So it's really, really just, looking closely at those colors, and just figuring out what goes where. And as well, on the metal buckles, for example, metal is always very shiny, so again, those highlights and shadows are really, really important when drawing metal, especially because you want to give that kind of shine effect really to it. And which is so much easier than it looks to achieve. It literally is just saying, right, what is the main color? So it would be like a grey kind of, this one was kind of like a yellowy grey. And then, there's obviously the highlights, which would be a darker grey than a black. And then sorry, did I say highlights? I meant shadows. So there would be the shadows, which would be like the darker greys and the blacks, and then the highlights would be anything from a light grey up to a white, or even even yellows could be in there as well. I will be posting some real-time tutorials, so I'm really, really excited to start doing that. I have just got fully booked with my commissions, but I am starting to take on less per month so that I can fit things like this in. So lots more tutorials coming on really specific things, and I'll be doing quick ones like this, just some quick tips, and as well as some real-time ones as well. So if you liked this video, then please let me know. I'd love to hear what you think, and hear if you got any kind of value from it, and also if you've applied anything to your own drawing. I would love to hear it. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.